My wife ignored me at the party. Her friend whispered, "You're mine tonight." Wife panicked. Reality check delivered successfully. Update 2. My wife's grip tightened on her wine glass. "That's nice, honey. Can I talk to you for a second?" "Actually," Jessica said before I could answer. "I was just about to steal him for a dance. They're playing something slow and I hate dancing alone." She didn't wait for permission. Jessica took my hand and led me toward the small dance floor where a few other couples were swaying to some jazz standard I didn't recognize. "Is this a good idea?" I asked, as she put her arms around my neck. "Probably not," she said, pulling me closer. "But your wife has been watching us for the last 5 minutes and she looks absolutely miserable." I glanced over Jessica's shoulder. My wife was standing exactly where we'd left her, wineglass in hand, watching us with an expression that was somewhere between shock and fury. "She's not used to sharing attention," Jessica continued, her breath warm against my ear. "Especially not yours." "How do you know all this?" Jessica pulled back slightly and looked at me with those calculating eyes. "Because she talks about you constantly. How you work too much, how you don't notice her anymore, how you two barely talk." She paused. "How she's not sure if you still find her attractive." The music shifted to something even slower and Jessica moved closer, close enough that anyone watching would think we were more than just dance partners. "The thing is," she whispered, her lips almost touching my ear, "I think the problem isn't that you don't notice her. I think the problem is that she's gotten too comfortable being ignored." I felt her hand move to the back of my neck, fingers playing with the hair there. "Some women need to be reminded that their husbands are still men other women want." That's when she said it loud enough that the couple dancing next to us could hear. Loud enough that anyone standing at the edge of the dance floor would catch it. "You're mine tonight." The words hit like a slap, not because they were inappropriate, but because of how they sounded. Possessive, confident, final. I looked over Jessica's shoulder again. My wife wasn't just watching anymore. She was moving toward us, cutting through the crowd with the kind of determination that meant someone was about to have a very bad night. Jessica felt me tense up and smiled. "Here she comes," she murmured. "Right on schedule." "This is going to cause problems," I said. "Good," Jessica replied. "Problems wake people up." My wife reached the edge of the dance floor just as the song ended. Her face was flushed, whether from wine or anger I couldn't tell. "The song's over," she announced, loud enough that several people turned to look. Jessica slowly let go of me but didn't step back. "You're right, thank you for the dance." She looked directly at my wife. "He's a wonderful dancer among other things, I'm sure." The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. "We should probably go," my wife said to me, but her eyes never left Jessica. "Should we?" I asked. I was actually having a good time. Something flickered across my wife's face, something that looked suspiciously like panic. My wife stood there for a moment, clearly expecting me to follow her lead like I always did. When I didn't move, her expression shifted from confident to confused. "Actually," I said, "I think I'll grab another drink first." Jessica's smile was pure satisfaction. "Great idea, I'll join you." We walked back to the bar together, leaving my wife standing alone on the edge of the dance floor. I could feel her watching us, but for the first time in months I didn't care. "2 whiskeys, Jessica told the bartender. "Make them doubles." "I didn't order whiskey," I said. "Trust me, you're going to need it." She turned to face the room, leaning against the bar with her elbow. "Your wife is talking to that brunette from accounting, the one who looks like she just swallowed a lemon." I glanced over. My wife was indeed in intense conversation with someone I didn't recognize, both of them shooting looks in our direction. "Let me guess," Jessica continued. "She's asking for backup, trying to figure out if you've lost your mind or if I'm just that irresistible." The bartender set our drinks down. Jessica picked up both glasses and handed me one. "To new experiences," she said, raising her glass. "To surviving the night," I countered. She laughed and touched her glass to mine. "Oh, you'll survive. The question is whether your marriage will." It was a loaded statement and we both knew it. I took a long sip of whiskey and studied her face. "You're enjoying this," I said. "Absolutely." She didn't even pretend otherwise. "Your wife has spent 2 years complaining about how predictable you are, how you never surprise her, how you just work and come home and watch television." She said that. She said a lot of things. Jessica moved closer, her hand finding my arm again. "She said you haven't taken her out in months, that you don't notice when she gets her hair done, that you two have conversations about bills and schedules, but never about anything that matters." Each observation hit like a physical blow because they were all true. When had I stopped noticing her hair? When had our conversations become purely functional? "But here's what she never mentioned," Jessica continued, her fingers tracing a small circle on my forearm. "How good you look in a suit, how you actually listen when someone talks to you, how you have this quiet confidence that most men fake but you actually possess." I felt something shift in my chest, not guilt or confusion but something sharper, clarity. "She also never mentioned," Jessica said, leaning close enough that her perfume was intoxicating, "how you smell or how you have these little lines around your eyes when you smile, or how your voice gets lower when you're really paying attention to someone." Across the room my wife was now standing with 3 other women, all of them watching our conversation with varying degrees of shock and fascination. "They're having quite the discussion over there," Jessica observed, following my gaze. "About what?" "About whether I'm making a move on you or whether you're encouraging it." She took another sip of whiskey. The truth is it doesn't matter. What matters is that your wife is finally seeing you as a man other women want instead of just a husband who pays bills. That's when my wife started walking over, not the casual approach from before but a march, determined, territorial. Here we go, Jessica murmured. Now you can watch the third part by pressing share and more.